Hello there, welcome to my Absolute Beginners Ukulele course. There are many very slick videos on YouTube for learning the ukulele, so I wanted to do something completely different. I'm going to try and do this without any or very minimal edits, so I'll keep in all the hesitations, all the stutters, because I want it to be like I'm in the room with you and guiding you through this as a face-to-face teacher. Okay, so a bit of a different approach. Now, I presume you've never touched a ukulele before, so I want you to place it close next to your body with the neck pointing 45 degrees up. That's 0. Okay, 45 degrees up. And if you just take your right hand, you might be left-handed. I'm going to use the term right and left hand, but please excuse me if you are left-handed. Just transfer things over. Okay, so here you go. If you curl your fingers around like that, with your hitchhiking thumb at the side, stretched out. Okay, this is the basic starting position for most of the things we'll ever want to do on the ukulele: strumming, picking, etc. So let your wrist go floppy with your fingers curled round in a nice curve like that. Hitchhiking thumb. Now bring your thumb around to the back of the sound hole and rest it on top of the string closest to you, this one here. We call that the 4th string. Okay, so your wrist may be arched like mine, or it may be flat. If you just go back to what I've been through with you then, just letting your wrist go floppy, curled fingers, thumb at the side, and just let your wrist sit wherever it does, because we've all got different length arms and fingers and physiology. Okay, so you might have a curled wrist, an arched wrist, or a flat wrist. It doesn't matter at this stage. Okay, so we're resting our thumb on the 4th string, and I just want you to play with your fingers remaining curved. Certainly avoid touching the ukulele or holding it like this. Keep your fingers curved around. Okay, so see if you can follow a beat with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now move your thumb up to the 3rd string. You might be surprised that I'm saying up. This way is up because it's up in pitch mostly, not quite, if you've got a high G on the ukulele, but in all the other instruments, guitar, violin, etc., up is this way because you're going up in pitch. So up, down. I know that's a bit tricky to get used to. I'll help you with it. Okay, so here we go on the 3rd string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2nd string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the 1st string. Okay, let's try 4 strokes on each string. So 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string. Can we mix them up? Can you find the 2nd string for me and play it once? Should be this one here. Can you find the 1st string and play it once? Okay, can you find the 3rd string and play it once? 4th string. Okay, so pause the video, and although this looks really easy, even high level players can get confused with the strings. the order of the strings and the naming of them. So just test yourself, make sure you know it's 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to talk about the neck and the left hand. So these are the frets. The word frets refers to both the bars and the space between them. But for the most part in this course, when I say fret, I'll be talking about the space between the bars. So you've got quite a few frets on the ukulele, but we're only concerned with the first 3 at the moment. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now our left hand fingers, we label them 1 for your index, 2 for middle, 3 for your ring finger, and 4 for your little finger. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you've played piano in the past, that might be a bit confusing because they label the thumb 1, but there's 1 with your index, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I want you to place your thumb vertical behind the neck, like that, behind the 2nd fret. Okay? So we don't want your thumb right up here like this. It can peep over a little bit, but you want it vertical, following the curve of the neck. Okay, vertical, straight up behind the 2nd fret. And I want you to place your first finger, index finger, on the 1st fret of the 1st string. Now, you haven't got much space on the ukulele, but try and place it 2/3 across. Okay, so just past the middle, behind the bar. Alright, so you'll see, before I play it, there is a gap between the palm of my hand and the bottom of the ukulele neck. So we don't want to be playing like this because we won't have flexible use of our fingers. So you can see that gap there, and you always want that gap whatever you do, whatever you play. Okay, so I'm on the 1st fret of the 1st string, and with my thumb, with my right hand fingers curved, back of the sound hole, I'm just going to play that. If it's buzzing, you'll need to press harder and check that you're playing on the very tip of your fingers. Now of course it goes without saying that you need to cut your nails right down for this. That can be a shock for some people. Right, so there you go. Also, if it's buzzing, it might be because you're too far back in the fret. But mostly it's probably because you're not applying enough pressure. You need to build up calluses on your fingers to do this really effectively, and that takes about 6 weeks. So press in hard. Okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing with my 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, 2/3 across, on the tip of my finger, with that same gap there, thumb behind the 2nd fret. Okay. Check for any buzzing. If it's buzzing, press harder. Make sure you're 2/3 across in the fret. If you're on a small ukulele, like a soprano ukulele, it would be very difficult to be that accurate. So just aim for the middle of the frets. Okay. So now 3rd finger, 3rd fret on the 1st string. Notice how my other fingers are just nicely curved, relaxed, and waiting to play. They're not like this, they're not sticking out. Just curved around, hanging over, like a centimetre over the notes I want to play. Okay. They're waiting to be used. 4th finger, 4th fret. This will feel strange. The 4th finger is the weakest. We'll need to build up strength in it in time. Okay, so pause the video and just try first finger, first fret, second finger, second fret, third finger, third fret, fourth finger, fourth fret. Okay? Right, moving on, try and put those together. I'll go a little bit slower. One, two, three, four. Let's go back the other way. 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, pause the video now and spend some time going forward and backwards. Okay, so moving on from that, let's just try some other frets and strings. So third fret, second string, third finger. So the frets and the fingers are going to be the same in this exercise. Okay. Third fret, second string, third finger. Let's try first fret, third string, first finger. Okay. Let's try second fret, fourth string, second finger. Fourth fret, first string, fourth finger. That wasn't a very good note. There you go. Okay. So, can I test you now? First fret, third string, first finger. Check with me. Okay. Third fret, first string, third finger. Check with me. Okay. Second fret, fourth string, second finger. Check with me here. Okay. So I'd pause the video now and just go through everything we've talked about so far and replay the video from the start. Maybe give it a day or two before going on to this next bit. Right, so we're going to talk about chords. Now, hopefully you've downloaded the chord chart and the music, the song Amazing Grace, which we're going to play at the end of this video. So we're going to look at the chord of C major. Now, when you look at the chord chart, it's as if the ukulele is in front of you like this. Okay? So going from your right to your left, when you look at the ukulele in front, you've got the strings going down vertically and then the frets going horizontally. So how many frets can you see in the chord shape for C major? Can you count the frets? It's marked. So there's 7. Okay, so you can see the 7 frets. And how many strings can you see? Hopefully 4. Alright, so the dot is where you're going to put your finger and the number is which finger, and you can see the dot is on the 3rd fret of the 1st string with the 3rd finger. So let's do that. 1st string, 3rd finger in the 3rd fret. Okay, now with your right hand technique I've already taught you, with your curved fingers and your hitchhiking thumb, just strum down across the strings gently. We're going to refine this later. Okay? So there's your C major chord. Now whenever you learn a new chord with me in these videos, look at it, memorise the shape, and then take your hand away, reset your fingers so they forget the position they were in, and then go back to it cold. Okay? So stop the video and just memorise that chord. It's a very easy chord. All ukulele players start with it. And just keep removing your hand and then putting it back. Okay, so hopefully you've got that C major chord down now. let's strum it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I was going to count those. 1, 2, 3, 4. So with everything I've taught you about the fingers and the frets and reading the chord chart, I want you to stop the video again now and teach yourself F major, the next chord along in the chord chart. Okay, so if you found it, well done. It says second finger on the second fret of the 4th string, and then at the same time first finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Now you need to remember that all important information I gave you about the left hand thumb, it should be vertical behind the 2nd fret. Now the reason why I said 2nd fret is I want your thumb to be always behind your 2nd finger wherever it is on the ukulele. Okay, so at the moment your 2nd finger is mostly going to be on the 2nd fret, or resting over the 2nd fret, waiting to play. So in this chord you can see 2nd finger's on the 2nd fret and your thumb's just behind it. Okay, so make sure you've got that curve there between the palm of your hand and the bottom of the fretboard. So let's try and play that. Keeping your right hand fingers curved, just strumming down across the strings. If it's buzzing, do a check. Are your fingers well into the fret, like in the middle or 2/3 along? Are you pressing down on your fingertips? Are your nails cut short so you can press down on your fingertips? Okay, you don't want to be on the backs of your fingers like this. If your thumb is too high like that, like you'll see a lot of people playing, then you'll be on the backs of your fingers and it'll be a lot harder to get a clean chord because you'll be stopping the open strings. That's the strings which aren't fretted. Okay, so just check that carefully and do the same thing. Memorise the shape, try and picture that shape in it's like a diagonal line in your mind, and then take your hand away, move your fingers around gently and practice going back to it cold. Don't worry if you put one finger down before the next, that's okay at the moment. Okay, just keep doing that. Okay, so at this stage please stop the video and practice C and then F. Don't practice changing yet, just practice C, stop and then practice F. Right, so moving on, we're going to try and connect C and F up. So when you have the C chord down, whilst you're playing it, if you're going to then change to F, you can start to get your fingers in position over the strings you need for F, yeah? And then you just exchange them like that. So it's quite easy to change between these two chords. Okay? And we're going to try a technique I always use. We're going to count like this. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and then changing the gap to F. This looks easy when you watch me doing it, but I can guarantee that 9 out of 10 people trying this will be playing too quickly. So let's keep it really slow. And the faster you play, the harder it is to change in the gap. And you don't want to become one of these ukulele players. Okay? People who have to pause between each chord. So we're going to stop that. I'm going to get rid of that. We're going to avoid it at all costs right now as you're learning from scratch. Right then, so 1,000, just try with me. 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. So now I'm preparing my third finger. It's just going a bit lower to get ready to jump back to the C. Okay, I'm going to go slower than that now. So we're going to go C to F, 4 on each, counting 1,000 with each one, and I want you to practice changing in the gap as much as possible. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, change 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and back to C, 1,000, etc. So stop the video and practice going back and forth, and you might need to do that for a few hours or maybe a day or two. But it's very likely that you won't realise it, but you'll be going too quickly. So if you slow it down to say one strum every 4 seconds, you can't go wrong. 1,000, 2,000. Okay, because the only thing we really are concerned about here is changing in the gap. So we're not stopping the beat. And if it's really slow, it's fine. We can speed it up in a matter of seconds. So stop the video and please practice that, and maybe come back the next day. Hello again. Right, so are we going to move forward now? We've got C and F. I want you to teach yourself a third chord, G7. Okay, on the top line, the fourth chord on the top line of your sheet. So pause the video and have a go at that, using everything I've taught you about fingers, strings, left hand position, chord charts, etc. Right, so if you've got this, then well done. So there's your G7. It says here, second finger on the second fret of the third string, first finger on the first fret of the second string, and third finger underneath on the second fret of the first string. Okay, so because you're stacking two fingers in the same fret, you want to get your arm out like this, and make sure the ukulele neck is up 45 degrees. Excuse me. Okay, so there's your G7. And like the other chords, just take your fingers away once you've memorised that shape, and practice going back to it. Move your fingers around, then go back. So pause the video. This is the hardest chord so far, so maybe you might want to spend 5-10 minutes on this. So when you've got all three chords, we're going to try and connect them. Now the pathway between the chords, we've talked about C to F, so you have your third finger on C. If you're going to change to F, on the last beat or so of C, you can prepare your first and second fingers like this for F, just over the strings you need to be on, and then change. Okay. Now when you go to G7, keep your first finger down. Keep this finger down, because that finger is in G7 as well. So all you need to do is sort of twist on the finger to add your second and third, then you've got G7. And when you go back to C, you just slide your third finger up a fret, then you're back on C. So I'll go through that again with my left hand, and I'd like you to try it with your left hand alone, so not strumming, just with your left hand. So C, prepare for F, exchange your fingers. Okay, keep your first down, twist, G7, and then slide your third up, C. All the while, make sure that thumb is behind the second fret, vertical, following the curve of the neck. Okay, like that. So, you might need to practice that. You might want to stop the video here and work on that. I'd advise practicing it with your left hand alone. You don't need to distract yourself with your right hand. What you do need to do is to train your fingers into those shapes and train them to move between them. Okay, so when you've done that, we can go C, F, G7, C. 1,000, 2,000, prepare, 3,000, 4,000 and change, F, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, prepare, get ready and change, G7, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, get ready, slide up, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. So work on that, but I'd like, once you have done, play along with me now. So we'll go slightly quicker. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, change, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, change, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, move up. Okay, a little bit quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. G7 and C. I'll call out the chords in case that was confusing. So we've got C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, G7 and C. One more time. Let's try 3 beats per chord now, 3 strums. C, 2, 3, get ready, F, 2, 3, G7, 2, 3, and C, 2, 3. Half speed, C, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, G7, 2, 3, C, 2, 3. Okay, and quicker. C, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, G7, 2, 3, and C, 2, 3. Good. Alright, so please pause the video and go away and practice that. You might want to write that out. C, F, G7, C. We did it in 4s, now practice it in 3s because that will lead on to our very first song we're going to play next. Right, so have you got the music for Amazing Grace there? Now if you look through the first 4 lines, the first verse, that is the whole song. Every time you see a chord, I want you to strum it 3 times evenly and then change chords between the gaps. So I'm going to show you now. So make sure that left hand thumb is behaving. At this stage I'll often find students doing crazy things with the thumb, like that or like that, and they won't notice it, but they will notice it's harder to play and they won't be sure why. So just make sure that thumb is vertical behind the 2nd fret, okay, following the curve of the neck. And you always need that gap. Make sure you've got that gap between the palm of your hand and the bottom of the neck with all the chords you play. Okay, so Amazing Grace. 1, 2, 3. So here's the first C. 1, 2, 3. Second C. 1, 2, 3. Get ready for F. 1, 2, 3. Next C. Okay, second line. C. 2, 3. C. Slide your 3rd finger back for G7. another G7, 2, 3. Now on to the third line, C, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, then F, 2, 3, back to C. Fourth line was blind, C, G7, and then C, and again. Excuse me, my computer screen's just gone off there. That's it, right. Oh, I can see myself again now. Good. So let's do that again a little bit quicker. You might want to stop the video and practice that very, very slowly, like one strum a second even. 1, 2, 3. Okay, all the way through. Okay, so here we go, a little bit quicker. So C, 2, 3, C, 2, 3. Get ready for F, change. 2, 3, and C, 2, 3. Second line, C, 2, 3. The second C over the word wretch. Like me, G7, 2, 3, G7. Back up to C, I once was lost, okay, but now F, I'm found. Was blind, but now G7, I see, and it's chord C, and another C. As you practice that, you may have been doing this already because I was doing it. Try and make the first beat of each 3 a little bit stronger with an accent. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, all the way through. So I'm going to warble the words. I'm not a singer, and this is definitely in the wrong key for my voice. But I'm going to warble through the first 4 lines with you. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. That's very low. That saved a wretch like me. But now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Okay, and replay that bit there a few times and practice strumming along. So we're going to go for it now. We're going to play our first song. Now this may be 1, 2, 3, 4 days or a week since you started this video. It doesn't matter. I think a week would be quite good actually if you learn a little bit each day rather than cramming it in. Unless it's terrible weather, it's been raining outside and you can't go out, in which case you might have done it in a day. That's okay too. But I'm going to warble the whole song, well the 2 verses I've included, and we're going to play together from start to finish. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved So well done for getting this far. I hope you like this format of me just doing like a through edit, as it were, you know, not cutting things up. So you've got all the mistakes and hesitations with it, but I hope it appears as authentic. And well done. This is the end now of lesson 1 of the beginner's course. I'll be doing a second video and maybe a third. I'll see how much content's in the second. So keep practicing, keep replaying the video, and I think my final 2 messages to you is watch that thumb. This is the thing which really goes wrong. So make sure vertical, it's vertical behind the 2nd fret, okay? Following the curve of the neck, not like that, not like this, okay? And make sure the 3 chords that you have learnt, you keep that gap between the palm of your hand and the fretboard, okay? The other thing I want you to check is keep the neck up, don't play like this, and keep the ukulele body, the back of the uke, sorry, against your body. You don't want to be tilting. I know it's easy to look, but get used to looking through the strings or leaning over. So the back of the uke needs to be right up against your body like this. Okay, and there was another thing. Yeah, so most people will practice too quickly. So slow it down. 1 strum every second, 2 seconds, 4 seconds. The slower the better. Alright, so see you next time.